Tam ye Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bhutait Mahadbhirayama Puro Vibhu Nirmayashyete Yatamushu Purusha Bhute Gunan Shodashatmaka Solang Krisishta Bhagavan Vachamsi Me Shri Krishna Sharanam Sharanagatam Katha Amritam Satatapitatam Bhakti Vedanta Marga Panthanam Sarvaloka Rishideva Janna Prasannam Sarvaloka Rishideva Janna Prasannam. Hare Krishna, dear Prabhus and Matajis. It's so nice that you are able to join in the evening session as well. So we'll be continuing with the summary or the essence of Prahlad Maharaj's prayers to Lord Nrsimhadeva from 5th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, 18th chapter, and text number 8 we did this morning. So in this Bija mantra, Prahlad Maharaj prays that all Lord Nrsimhadeva, who is the source of all power, who possesses nails and teeth like thunderbolts, kindly vanquish our demon-like desires for fruitive activity in this material world. Please appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance, so that by your mercy we may become fearless in the struggle for existence in this material world. So, this material world is indeed a struggle, and we need not struggle. And simply by this process of surrendering to the Supreme Lord, we can enter the spiritual world. As before this session began, such a nice song, Vrindavanaya Ramya Sthana Devya Chintamani Dhama. The description of the spiritual world is being mentioned, and living in such a dham where one is nourished only by love. Just imagine, love nourishes us every moment, every second. Nothing else is needed. And that is how Krishna nourishes and maintains his devotees by pure love. And those who have experienced love to some extent in this material world, momentarily even, can imagine how it would be that if we feel loved every moment, and that is only possible in relation to Krishna, because only Krishna is able enough, samartha enough to do that. Now, in order to be qualified for that, Prahlad Maharaj's prayers form the crux which will make us qualified. Let's go on to text number 9. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Would anyone like to sing this verse? Okay, I'll do it. Swastiyastu Vishvasya Kala Prasidatam Dhyayantu Bhutani Shivam Vitodhya Manascha Bhadram Bhajata Jadokshaje Aveshyatam No Matirapya Hetuki. This is a wonderful verse. Translation. Prahlad Maharaj says, may there be good fortune throughout the universe. May all envious persons be pacified. May all living entities become calm by practicing bhakti-yoga, for by accepting devotional service, they will think of each other's welfare. Therefore, let us all engage in the service of the supreme transcendence, Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa, and always remain absorbed in thought of him. The beauty of this verse, Prabhu and Mataji's, is in its Sanskrit itself. When we look at word to word and try to memorize this verse, we can appreciate. Swasti means auspiciousness. Astu, let there be. Vishvasya, throughout the entire universe. So this is the prayer of a pure devotee. He wants auspiciousness to prevail throughout the entire universe. Swastiyastu Vishvasya. And Kalaha Prasidatam. Kalaha means the envious persons. And Prabhupada translates envious persons, almost everyone. So everyone in this material world is envious. That is taken. And that is the reason why we are here. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, Ichat Vesha Samuttena. First we have desire to enjoy selfishly and lord over the material nature. And because of that desire, we are dveshi, envious, firstly towards Krishna, and then that naturally results in enviousness towards other living entities. And because everyone in this world is envious without fail, a pure devotee who is in this world, he desires that may everyone's envious nature be pacified. Kalaha prasidatam. Prasidatam means let them be pacified. And when that happens, what happens? Dhyayantu, let them consider bhutani, all living entities, shivam, auspiciousness, mitha, dhayaha. Mitha means mutual, dhya means by their intelligence. So basically, the second point in this verse is that let each one of us or each living entity think about each other's welfare. My welfare is advancement in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, everyone else's welfare also is advancement in Krishna consciousness. This is the greatest welfare activity. That good happens to me and good happens to everyone. This is the mood of the devotee because he cannot see the pain of any living entity.
Have your phone.
Now, Srila Prabhupada mentions that Srila Prahlad Maharaj is one of the greatest devotees of the Lord. Why? Because he cannot see anyone suffering in this material world. In 9th chapter of 7th Canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, when Lord Nrsimhadeva appears and his anger is not subsiding, then Prahlad Maharaj offers heartful prayers. In one of the prayers, Prahlad Maharaj says that Neilvodvijay paraduratyaya vaitaranyas Twadvirya namahambita magna chitta Sochetato vimukacheta saindriyartha Maya sukhaya bharamudvahato vimudhan. That I actually do not desire to cross over this material ocean because I am absorbed in singing the glories of the Supreme Lord already. And therefore, I'm experiencing transcendental bliss, magna chitta. However, so chetato vimukha chetasa, I am lamenting that these fools and rascals who are vimukha means separate from Krishna. Why are they separate from Krishna? Because indriyartha, because they are so caught up in sense gratification, indriyartha, that they do not know what is good for them. Why are people in this world envious? Firstly, they have ichcha, to desire for sense gratification. And that desire for sense gratification creates competition in this material world. And that competition results in enviousness against each other. And that enviousness results in fight, quarrels at personal stage, at family stage, at society stage, and at a greater country stage. Therefore, wars are everywhere. Therefore, the only solution is that people become God conscious, Prabhupada says. We are not actually thinking about each other's welfare. What is stopping us from doing that? Bhagavatam is that one scripture who tells us, Dhyayantu bhutani shivam mitho dhiya. Mitho is very nicely translated as mutual. You be happy, and I also be happy. Auspiciousness happens to you, and let auspiciousness happen to me also. Dhyayantu bhutani. And in this way, what will happen when we are in this disposition? Then manascha badram bhajata dokshaje. Then mana means mind, cha, and badram, calmness. Then our mind will be calm. And when the mind is calm, Prabhuji and Mataji's, then bhajata dokshaje. Then doing devotional service unto Krishna, experiencing Krishna, Supreme Lord, who is known as Adhokshaje, will be possible. Adhokshaja means one who is beyond the perception of senses and mind. And when Krishna bhajan is possible, then the more Krishna bhajan will do, what will happen? Aveshyatam no matirapya hetuki. Aveshyatam means we will be able to absorb ourselves, our intelligence, fully in Krishna. And let that devotion be hetuki, meaning without any motive. Now, this verse is very significant because Prahlad Maharaj lived by this verse. His father tried to kill him in so many ways. We hear in Srimad Bhagavatam that Hiranyakashipu is the epitome of asuric or demoniac quality. He is hoarding gold, accumulating wealth. He is fighting wars with those who are godly conscious. He's killing brahmanas, destroying temples. And in his own house, the great devotee of the Lord is born, Prahlad Maharaj. And he asks Prahlad Maharaj, what you have learned is the best thing in school. And when Prahlad Maharaj says that, oh, best of the demoniac kings, I have heard that when one has come of age and their senses are not under their control, they should just retire to forest of Vrindavan and worship the Supreme Lord. At first, Hiranyakashipu laughs it off, and then he chastises their Prahlad Maharaj's teachers, Shanda and Amarka. And Shanda and Amarka said, we don't know where he has learned this. But again, they sent Prahlad to school, and there they try to reprogram him, so to speak. But Prahlad Maharaj is not reprogrammable. His devotion is so fixed, and he's convinced of this fact that political science, economic development, the diplomacy that the so-called education teaches, and this is the modern day education as well, mind you, because the subject matter of spirituality is almost absent from all our schools. Basically, Hiranyakashipu, in form of the so-called secular government or non-God conscious governments, are actually infiltrating into our children's consciousness, making them go this path of competition without peace, competition without compassion. And this will create problems in lives of not only our children, but future generations and everyone else as well. However, Prahlad Maharaj, he could not understand why there needs to be such a competitive society. And therefore, Prahlad Maharaj rejects this concept. And he says to his friends that principles where we have to discriminate is to be condemned. Rather, let us all join together and worship Supreme Personality of Godhead in cooperation. And in due course of time, his father again calls for Prahlad Maharaj and says, what is the best thing you have learned, O my son? Tell me. And when Prahlad Maharaj says, I have learned that Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnum, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam. These 9 processes of devotional service are the best means to achieve the Supreme Lord Vishnu. His father became furious and he tried to kill Prahlad Maharaj in so many ways. But Prahlad Maharaj, under those circumstances where he was trying to be harmed, he remained steadfast. He prayed to Krishna, but he never prayed to Krishna for any protection. He was simply aveshyatam, no matir apyahetuki. He lived by this principle of being calm, manascha bhadram, bhajataj adhokshaje, worship Krishna, remain fully absorbed in Krishna without any motive. He did not ask for protection even, and yet Krishna gave him full protection. But at the same time, what Prahlad Maharaj's glory is that swastiyastu vishvasya kala prasidatam, that he wanted all the demons who were envious of him in this material world, for them to be good to happen to them. He desired their welfare. And that is the greatest quality of Prahlad Maharaj. Even when Hiranyakashipu was killed by Lord Nrsimhadeva, and Lord Nrsimhadeva asked Prahlad Maharaj that you please ask for the benediction, Prahlad Maharaj refused profusely, and we'll discuss, later on. But one benediction then Prahlad Maharaj does ask for is that my father, who was very envious towards you, O my Lord, please deliver him, liberate him. And Lord Nrsimhadeva replied, because you are a pure devotee, what to speak of your father, so many generations in your family have already been liberated. This is the effect of having one pure devotee in the family. Any questions or comments, Prabhus and Matajis?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, just one question. I think I don't have envy for anyone, Prabhuji. So can you help me point out, in what little ways we can be envious of others? And I don't think I can be envious of Krishna. Like you said, we are all envious of Krishna, and we are all envious here in material world. But I don't know, I feel that I don't have envy for anyone.
That's a very good quality, Mataji, and no wonder you are speaking so nicely, Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Srila Prabhupada, actually, he's mentioning in the papers, and the fact that Krishna says that Ichhadvesha samuthena dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoha sargayanti parantapa. Sarva bhutani sammoha. Says all the living entities in this material world, to some extent or another, to some degree or another, are envious. But of course, devotees of the Lord are excluded from that, because the devotees of the Lord are not envious. A good-natured person is not envious, and therefore he does not think that others are envious. So that's your good nature, Mataji. And also, I can't actually, we cannot see. It is said, Atmavan manyate jagat. As one is, he sees the whole world. So one who is not envious will see the whole world as not envious like you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, I just want to understand because I heard somewhere that in the spiritual world, when Tulsi Maharani ji was there, and she was also a bit envious of Srimati Radharani or some other way. And that's why she was not allowed, or something was happening. And that's why she was cursed and she has to come to the material world. So is that envious is different?
Tamal Krishna Maharaj mentioned that actually that cannot be true. I heard Tamal Krishna Maharaj comment on this point. basically, we have to understand, firstly, the Leela aspect of the Lord, that there has to be some reason for exalted personalities like Tulsi Maharani to come to this material world to give the mercy to all living entities. What is in spiritual world is rather appreciation of the exalted qualities of all the devotees. So, for example, once my Guru Maharaj met one devotee, a very nice devotee, and my Guru Maharaj asked him, what's your name, son? And the devotee replied, oh, my Guru Maharaj has named me Govind Charan Das. So my Guru Maharaj just patted him on the back very hardly and he said, oh, I'm so envious of you. Your Guru Maharaj gave you such a nice name. So, does that mean he's envious of him? No, he's saying that expression is rather of appreciation, not envious. Actually, in the spiritual world, envy does not exist at all. So that story is quite unfounded.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay, we'll continue to read Srila Prabhupada's paper. Anyone would like to read the paper?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, I can do. May there be good fortune throughout the universe, and may all envious persons be pacified. May all living entities become calm by practicing bhakti-yoga, for by accepting devotional service, they will think of each other's welfare. Therefore, let us all engage in the service of the Supreme Transcendence, Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa, and always remain absorbed in thought of Him. Thank you.
Purport. Radhapriya Mataji, would like to read the paper?
Yes, Prabhuji, I can read. So purport from the following verse describes a Vaishnava. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhuve evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Just like a desired tree, a Vaishnava can fulfill all the desires of anyone who takes shelter of his lotus feet. Prahlad Maharaj is a typical Vaishnava. He prays not for himself, but for all living entities, the gentle, the envious, and the mischievous. He always thought of the welfare of mischievous persons like his father, Hiranyakashipu. Prahlad Maharaj did not ask for anything for himself. Rather, he prayed for the Lord to excuse his demoniac father. This is the attitude of a Vaishnava who always thinks of the welfare of the entire universe. Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Dharma are meant for persons who are completely free of envy. Param Nirmatsaran. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prays in this verse, Khala Prasiditam. May all the envious persons be pacified. The material world is full of envious persons. But if one frees himself of envy, he becomes liberal in his social dealings and can think of others' welfare. Anyone who takes of Krishna consciousness and engages himself completely in the service of the Lord cleanses his mind of all envy. Manascha Bhadram Bhajata Adhokshaje. Therefore, we should pray to Lord Nrsimhadev to sit in our hearts. We should pray, Bahir Nrsimha Hridaya Nrsimha. Let Lord Nrsimha sit in the core of my heart, killing all my bad propensities. Let my mind become clean so that I may peacefully worship the Lord and bring peace to the entire world. Should I stop here, Prabhuji?
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, so, I was just meditating on the question that Bhavame Mataji asked, that how, we don't know what envy is. And that is actually the nature of pure devotees. And Prahlad Maharaj also feels a similar way. In one of the verses, it is mentioned that Prahlad Maharaj, it is said that he wasn't interested in sporting. He wasn't interested like other children. It is mentioned that Krishna Grahe Grhit Atma Na Ved Idrishe Jagat, that he was completely influenced by the planet Krishna Loka. And Na Ved Idrishe Jagam, Jagat, he could not understand the ways of the world. So a pure devotee of the Lord actually cannot understand why the materialists work like that, why the materialists do things like this, why the materialists are envious. And sometimes even when the materialists are envious against devotees, devotees actually cannot see that they are envious towards them because they are always absorbed in Krishna Katha or Srimad Bhagavatam or chanting Hare Krishna. So this is the quality of the pure devotee, and the Lord protects such pure devotees always, and the Lord protects the consciousness of such pure devotees always. And that is what is to be aspired for, that in our minds, we don't have anything ill against anyone. You know, these 5-6 qualities are encapsulated in Lord Kapila Dev's instructions to Mother Devhuti. These 5 qualities are so important. Firstly, Titikshava. Prahlad Maharaj tolerated so much, not only insults, but harm that his own father tried to do to him, Prahlad Maharaj tolerated. And because Prahlad Maharaj was able to tolerate, he was Titikshava. He was Karunikaha. Karunikaha means merciful. He was able to be merciful to his father. Even though his father desired harm, he wanted his father to be liberated. And not only that, Suhridah Sarvadehinam. Prahlad Maharaj was a well-wisher for all the demons and all the children of the demons. He desired welfare for everyone throughout the universe. Suhridah Sarvadehinam. And the 4th quality, Ajata Shatrava. Prahlad Maharaj's enemy was not born. Even though Chanda and Amarka also tried to harm him, but Prahlad Maharaj never considered them as enemies. Ajata Shatrava. And because in his mind he had no enemies, he was always Shantaha. Shantaha means calm and peaceful. And because Prahlad Maharaj was calm and peaceful, Sadhava, Sadhu Bhushanam, he was able to abide by the standard of the scriptures, Sadhava. And these were his Bhushanam, the decoration. Titikshava, tolerance, Karunikaha, mercy, Suhida, Sarvadehinam, welfare for all throughout the world, including those who wanted to harm him. Ajata Shatrava, he never considered anyone his enemy. And Shantaha, always peaceful. And in that peaceful condition, one can do worship of Krishna always. Yes, anyone would like to continue?
I can continue, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
It's from the 3rd paragraph, isn't it? From Srila Vishwanath.
Chakravarti.
Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given us a very fine purport in this regard. Whenever one offers a prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one always requests some benediction from him. Even pure Nishkama devotee pray for some benediction as instructed by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shishashtaka. Ainanda Kantanujakinkaram Patitam Vishwame Badam Budho Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Stiti Dhuli Sadrisham Vichintaya. O son of Maharaj Nanda, Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or the other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from the ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. In another prayer, Lord Chaitanya says, Mama Janmani Janmeshware Bhavatad Bhaktir Aituki Twai. Life after life, kindly let me have unalloyed love and devotion at your Lordship's lotus feet. When Prahlad Maharaj chants Om Namo Bhagavate Nrsimhaya, he prays for a benediction from the Lord. But because he is also an exalted Vaishnava, he wants nothing for his personal sense gratification. The first desire expressed in his prayer is Swasti Astu Vishwasya. Let there be good fortune throughout the good universe. entire universe. Prahlad Maharaj thus requested the Lord to be merciful to everyone, including his father, a most envious person. According to Chanakya Pandit, there are two kinds of envious living entities. One is a snake, and the other is the man, like Hiranyakashipu, who is by nature envious of everyone, even of his father or son. Hiranyakashipu was envious of his little son Prahlad, but Prahlad Maharaj asked a benediction for the benefit of his father. Hiranyakashipu was very envious of devotees, but Prahlad wished that his father and other demons like him would give up their envious nature by the grace of Lord and stop harassing the devotees. Kala prasidata. The difficulty is that the Kala, envious living entity, is rarely pacified. One kind of Kala, the snake, can be pacified simply by mantras or by the action of a particular herb. Mantrausadi vasha sarpa khalakena nivaryate. An envious person, however, cannot be pacified by any means. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prayers that all envious persons may undergo a change of heart and think of the welfare of others. Should I continue, Prabhu?
Thank you, Mataji. I'll just comment here that, this nice prayer, Swastiyastu Vishwasya Kala Prasidatam Dhyayantu Bhutani Shivam Mitodiya Manasya Bhadram Bhajata Chadokshaje Aveshyatam No Matirapya Hetuki. Even though, we cannot understand how this is my personal prayer, each one of us may think this is not my personal prayer, but nonetheless, if we recite this prayer, repeat this prayer, understand its word-to-word meaning, and keep singing it, actually we will become pure devotees, because Prahlad Maharaj has already sung this prayer, and this higher mood of Swastiyastu Vishwa, that may there be good fortune throughout the universe, we will inculcate that mood and that quality. So we should be trying to recite this prayer every day, actually, especially during Nrsimha Chaturdasi. Please go on, Mataji.
Sure, Prabhu. If the Krishna consciousness movement spreads all over the world, and if by the grace of Krishna, everyone accepts it, the thinking of envious people will change. Everyone will think of the welfare of others. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prayers, Shivam Mitodiya. In material activities, everyone is envious of others. But in Krishna consciousness, no one is envious of anyone else. Everyone thinks of the welfare of others. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prayers that everyone's mind may become gentle by being fixed at the lotus feet of Krishna. Bhajatad adoksaje. As indicated elsewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam, Savai Mana Krishna Padarvin Daya. And as advised by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita 18.65, Mana Bhava Mad Bhakta. One should constantly think of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Then one's mind will certainly be cleansed. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Materialists always think of sense gratification, but Prahlad Maharaj prays that the Lord's mercy will change their minds and they will stop thinking of sense gratification. If they think of Krishna always, everything will be right. Some people argue that if everyone's thought of Krishna in that way, the whole universe would be vacated because everyone will go back home, back to Godhead. However, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that this is impossible because the living entities are innumerable. If one set of living entities is actually delivered by the Krishna consciousness moment, another set will fill the entire universe.
So from Prabhupada's favorite here, what is the reason for enviousness? Has anyone picked on that?
Sense gratification.
Very good, Mataji. Sense gratification. When one has a desire, material desire, The natural product of that material desire is envy. So if anyone has material desire, envy is bound to be there. There is no two way about it. And Prahlad Maharaj, sings very nicely, Shivam Mithodaya, and Prabhupada raises this nice point that, okay, if everyone becomes like Prahlad Maharaj, no material desires, everyone is thinking about each other's mutual welfare, then there will be no material world. However, the desires are such that individual souls will have some material desires because there are innumerable universes and innumerable living entities. I remember recently I had heard in the class that Srila Prabhupada was in an interview, and this interviewer was asking, so you have come here to America to make the whole world Krishna conscious. And Prabhupada answered to the effect, somewhere like that, yes, everyone should become Krishna conscious and everyone should be devotees. So he said, then Swami, if everyone becomes a devotee like you people are, then who will do the work? So Prabhupada very sarcastically remarked, don't worry about that. Not everyone, will become pure devotees, because there will always be rascals like you who will never take up Krishna consciousness. So there is no lacking of people who have material desires in the material world, because this is the place where they are put in. And because they have material desires, their natural consequence of that is that they will be envious. I'd like to quote, before finishing off, a very nice verse from 7th Canto, 15th chapter, text number 22. Our Guru Maharaj spent a lot of time discussing this verse, because in this chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, I think this chapter is titled Problems and Solutions. So problems are given and the solutions to those problems. So what is the problem? The problem is lusty desires. What is the solution? Asangalpa jayat kama. Making plans with a determination, one should give up lusty desires. We know that desires are the problem, so we should make plans with sense gratification, plans with determination. Then krodham kama vivarjanat, that one should give up envy, and one should conquer anger by discussing the disadvantages of accumulating wealth. One should give up greed, and by discussing the truth, one should give up fear. So in terms of envies, one should give up envy. By giving envy, one should conquer anger. And then in the next verse, he goes on to say that simply by stopping sense gratification, one can conquer envy. In Sanskrit, it is himsat kamadye anihaya. Simply by stopping sense gratification, one can conquer envy. And so tomorrow's verse that Prahlad Maharaj speaks is about, association of either, when we look at the Sanskrit verses, we give a clue that either one is Bhagavat Priyeshu, so this is text number 10, if everyone can look at it, or Indriya Priya. So there's two, association, Indriya Priya and Bhagavat Priya. Devotee is priya to us, or sense gratification is priya to us, or dear to us. So on that note, we'll conclude today's session. Apologies, I've gone over time, but it's just 2 more days for Nrsimha Chaturdasi, so it's worthwhile to sacrifice a bit of sleep. Any questions or comments, Prabhus and Matajis? One request, if you can read this particular verse and the previous verses as well, so that tomorrow we can continue and you can also participate. We'll have better understanding if we do some pre-reading. Yes, any
Prabhu,
question?
Prabhu, I had read from Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, one of the article, that there are 4 types of envy, and one of them is the subtle envy, which is even fault finding is actually envy. That was so, sometimes, a lot of times we subtly are envious, but we don't realize it, and we just, in the name of constructive criticism, we find faults in people, but that actually may be because of some subtle envy that lies within. Just a comment, reflection.
Ultimately, Maharaj used to say we should be so absorbed in Krishna that there is no room to think about anything else. And if there's no room to think about anything else, then where will be the question of envy be? And just by seeing us and experiencing our absorption in devotional service, others also will eventually give up their envy.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, Abhishek Prabhu, you had a question?
No, Prabhu. No, I'm good, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. We'll end on that note. Nice to hear you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Have a
Hare Krishna.
good night's sleep, and being absorbed in this message of Krishna consciousness. And Krishna willing, Krishna makes you wake early, and chant nice rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and you will all eagerly join Srimad Bhagavatam class early in the morning.
See you tomorrow in the morning, Prabhu. Sorry. Yes, sir. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Jai.
Hare
Grantaraj
Krishna.
Bhagavatam. Jai. Srila Prabhupada. Jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes,
Hare
thank you
Krishna,
for
Prabhu. Thank you.
taking the time at night
Thank
as
you,
well
Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.